Hello, and welcome to another episode of Getting to Know You. I'm your host, Jen Dawson, and with me today is Dr. Deepti Gupta. Dr. Gupta is a pediatric dermatologist and is an associate professor in the Department of Pediatrics at Seattle Children's Hospital and is the clinical adjunct for the Division of Dermatology at the University of Washington. She serves on the Dermatology World Advisory Board, is a member of the Hemangioma Investigator Group, and serves on PeDRA's very own Early Investigator Committee. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So as we get started, I'd just love to hear a little bit more about your background and how you got involved in pediatric dermatology and then more specifically research.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington. I attended University of Washington as an undergraduate and also for medical school. And then actually was initially did a residency in pediatrics at University of California, San Francisco. And during that rotation, I was really fortunate to do a rotation in pediatric dermatology and met some wonderful mentors and lifelong friends there that actually showed me kind of the beauty of pediatric dermatology. And I just fell in love with it from the moment that I did that rotation. And after that, applied into dermatology and did my pediatric dermatology fellowship at University of California, San Francisco.
That is so cool. And I love that you are back in your own community, serving the people and in the place that you grew up. That's got to feel really special.
Yes, it's wonderful. You know, it's great to be back. It's great to be back near family, and it's also wonderful to serve the community that I grew up in. It's, you know, I feel like every day there's connections that are being made from my own childhood, and so that's kind of wonderful to see as well.
That's so exciting. So tell me a little bit more about what brought you to PeDRA.
Yeah, so you know, before PEDRO started, you know, I'd done a little bit of research, but not a whole lot. And when PEDRO started, there was this amazing energy around the organization, as well as just really great mentorship and a lot of encouragement from kind of senior faculty and senior mentors for young investigators to get involved. And so I remember going to my first meeting and just being welcomed with such great enthusiasm as well as great mentorship. It was a little daunting at first to think about taking on a project or starting research, thinking about you being so junior in your career, but the PEDRA group really mentored you from early on and kind of got you able to get the tools and the kind of knowledge to be able to be an investigator yourself. So it's a wonderfully collaborative organization, and you feel like even the most senior mentors are so approachable.
I feel that too. Coming in as not an MD, I was always a little bit intimidated, and I've just been welcomed with open arms from everyone. So I definitely feel what you feel.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you've brought up mentorship and how you've been really mentored even in a junior stage of your career. And I wonder if you could just talk a little bit more about the challenges that you faced and sort of how PEDRA and its mentorship or just your connections in PEDRA have kind of helped you overcome some of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you know, just the world of research, there's so many different nuances within it. And I think that, you know, we all end up finding kind of the way to do things, but sometimes it's a lot of trial and error and it's a lot of time. And the wonderful thing about PEDRA is that I feel like I have this entire group that I can reach out to, and usually someone's encountered that same issue and can kind of walk you through it. It just makes your ability to do research a little bit more efficient, and also I think you have a group that you can kind of rely on to keep things kind of going. And so it is just a great way to be able to connect with people and also get a lot of enthusiasm for a project and kind of many hands, many brains working towards things.
Yes, many hands make light work. It's so true. So with the challenges that you faced and sort of the comfort you found in the people within PEDRA and those connections, what kind of advice would you give to early investigators who might be facing some of the same challenges or struggling in the same ways that you were struggling?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the biggest advice I'd give is just start small, start somewhere, get involved, because what you'll find is just even taking on a small piece of a project, the guidance and mentorship that you'll get, and the tools that you'll have to be able to kind of advance your research career in the future are kind of just really valuable. And so just take the leap, start somewhere small. Don't have to go and be, the lead on a project from the first, get-go. Just start somewhere small and kind of build yourself as you go. And don't be intimidated. I think that sometimes you feel intimidated. You feel like, oh, I'm only at this stage of my career, but everyone can do research. And I think PEDRA is a great organization to start that endeavor.
I think so too. I love that you have so perfectly and poignantly put it. Everyone can do research. And I think that's really valuable, especially as we see more med students coming in as members to PEDRA and residents, and really sparking that interest in them early on and helping them understand that there isn't a reason to be intimidated and they can participate too. And I love the idea of starting small. You don't have to be the lead on a project, and you don't even have to come to the group with a project. You can get involved in other research and, be a co-investigator. I think that's really great advice. So before I let you go, I just kind of want to know, why is it important to you to support PEDRA and moving PEDRA toward the future?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many reasons actually. What brought me into medicine is patient care and making a difference in people's lives. But you realize as a clinician that you can make you can make a difference in people's lives, but sometimes you kind of get stuck, and you get stuck at maybe getting approval for a medication that has not been researched in your patient cohort or for your different disease that you want to use it for, or you come up with questions of why exactly does this disease process happen the way it happens, and so you can deliver a certain amount of patient care, but then there's knowledge gaps, and that's where PEDRA kind of comes in. It opens up those knowledge gaps that allows us to understand disease processes better, which then make maybe our therapeutics better. It also allows different treatments to come to be used in actual clinical practice that were not really approved for that indication before. So it really opens up a wide range of kind of maybe blockades that we see in the clinical realm to be able to kind of meet unmet needs and deliver better patient care and make a bigger difference in people's lives.
I love that. There's such a path that I think you highlighted really well, that, PEDRA is helping fill in these gaps along the way. And we just are so thankful for investigators like you and all the wonderful work you do with our early investigator committee and on the projects that you're working on. I mean, our network is nothing without members like you. So thank you so much for joining me today, Dr. Gupta. It has been so wonderful getting to know you.
Well, thank you so much, Jen. Pleasure's mine.